I really look forward to hear about your mentoring program, and I've been seeing last year that you've built this up and put a lot of effort into it. So let's hear about that. Take it away, Rainer.
Okay, thanks, Jens. First of all, I'm happy to speak and in particular happy that I can present my mentoring program because, as you may know, I'm a big fan of my mentoring program. Only a few words about me because I'm the least interesting part in all of it. I give classes since 22, 24, and I start with Python. I did it for our product. I did it for C++. And since 28, I give remote classes. You see, I have a big, or long history of giving remote classes. Today, I want to talk about my mentoring program because I think mentoring is the future, not classes, not 3-day classes. So let's start. You see here, this is my landing page. And so far, I have 2 mentoring programs. One is called Fundamentals for C++ Professionals, and one Design Patterns and Architectural Patterns for C++. I will explain my mentoring program by explaining you my web page. So each mentoring program consists of 60 to 30 stations. Let me put it differently. The first mentoring program I have is this fundamental thing I showed you here. And this takes 8 months or 30 weeks. The second one I have is this design patterns program, and this takes 60 weeks. You see, this is the reason for these strange numbers. And here's my key idea. My key idea is the following. You must invest at least, or you should invest at least 3 hours a week to master my program. And the main reason is the following one. I want that you can integrate my mentoring program in your daily business life. In the ideal case, your company sponsors you, meaning you get 3 hours each week and your company pays this mentoring program. So let me dive a little bit deeper. I will always dive a little bit deeper. Each station is, or you can also say week, consists of theory, practice, and mentoring. I make it a little bit bigger to ensure. Theory consists of pure theory with about 10 videos. It also consists of about 5 examples. Means I have recorded videos in which I explain the theory, and additionally posts and training videos. This is the theoretical part. Then we have the practical part, which consists of exercises. I explain you the exercise, and I explain you also the solution to the exercise, and which I will come later. There's also an active C++ community involved in my mentoring program. I have forums. This is the theory, practical, and this is the mentoring part. Each Friday, I have 2 Q&As, typically 60 to 80 minutes, in which I address questions from the forums, and these Q&As are recorded. My program is worldwide, meaning I have literally from each part of the world participants. Therefore, I need 2 Q&As because of time gap issues. For example, I have people from Seattle and from Sydney, and they are, I think, around 80 hours in between. On the end, when you want to have it, you can also have a one-to-one mentoring with me. Maybe you want to go in a different direction regarding your career, or you want to have any additional information or tip or so. It's just the offer. So this is the mentoring part. Okay. You may ask yourself, which mentoring programs do I have so far? These are the one I have so far. You see, Fundamentals for C++ Professionals. Oh, this layout's not so fine. Fundamentals for C++ Professionals, which takes 8 months. The one I started in February, and from May on, it's open for new participants. design pattern, architecture pattern with C++, and this is my future plan. Meaning each mentoring program is based, almost any is based on one of my books or my training programs or my classes I give. One is about clean code, will come about clean code. One is about C++ 20, about generic programming, templates, about concurrency, and finally high performance computing. Only the first one takes 8 months, the remaining one only 4 months. And you see, I'm not sure which one I will implement next. And probably C++ 20 or concurrency. Okay, there's another idea which is involved in my mentoring program. When you mastered my mentoring program, well, by the way, this was not my idea, this was the idea of my mentees, because I'm still in the process of making this mentoring program as valuable for you as possible. So when you part of my mentoring program, you are a so-called mentee member, you see, mentee member. And the point is the following: you can become a community member, meaning even after the mentoring program is over, you can still be a community member and consume the entire material I have, as long as you want. So you can become a community member. This fee is extremely low, I think 250 euro or something like that. There's only one restriction for community membership. You cannot participate in the Q&A session. Because this would not work when I have too many people in one Q&A. This is the only limitation, but you can even consume the recorded Q&A session, or you can participate in the forum and ask questions, which I will answer after one would answer. Only not part of the Q&A session. Okay, so far no question. I'm a little bit fast as always, so let me just dive in let me just give an overview of both mentoring programs, and then I dive a little bit deeper in this first one. This is the fundamentals, and you see 30 stations. And this includes the core languages, literal types, value, move, semantics, memory, you see classes, inheritance, templates, and then we go into the direction of the standard template library, string, regular expressions, and finally the fun stuff, concurrency. So 30 stations, and these are the stations. I want to say something additionally. Okay, the idea for this mentoring program was essentially the following. Let me put this in this way. When I would want to hire you, what I would expect you should know when you say you are a C++ professional. And this was the idea of this mentoring program here, based on 2 books I have written. Okay, this is the fundamentals. Let's go back. And this is the design pattern thing. You see, only 16 stations. And now the first iteration of this program is running. We are currently in week 4. And you see, I start with a few general things. Then I talk about design patterns, exactly the patterns you know from the Gang of 4. Then I talk about idioms. So let's say pattern applied in a specific programming language. Of course, the programming language is C++. About architecture patterns. And finally, this is what I also talked today about concurrency related patterns. Okay. Let me jump back and let me show you what's inside the program. I go into fundamentals, and there's here a sample station, and this is what we use now. And you see, this is the week 6 move semantics. This is honestly a little bit a heavy week because of move semantics, and this is what's inside. First, I introduce what's the topic of this week. Then I explain the keywords default delete, which are essential for move semantics. I talk about copy versus move semantics, and then about stood move. And finally, is it here or is it the next one? Here we are. Move semantic for user-defined types. This is a pretty complicated thing. Wrong button, sorry. Okay, now let me just jump here into default deletes. You see, I explained the theory. This is a video. This is the slides, which I explain here in this video. Then let's just jump through. I explain default using an example. By the way, each week has around 40-50 minutes of pre-recorded stuff. I explain delete. Here's, for example, the exercise. Here's the exercise and here's the solution. This is a pretty short exercise. And finally, this is the stuff which is not part of this 3 hours, the additional stuff. Here, there's only one additional posts, but sometimes it's way, way more. Let me just jump here inside. Does not work. Let's use this button. You see 2 posts I have written, which I linked here. And this is a talk from Klaus, which you should know, which is hosted on YouTube about back to basic, about move semantics. This is a 2-hour talks, which is not typical for back to basics, but this is a 2-hour talks. And this is listed here. And this is essentially what I have in each week. And the final part was move semantic for user-defined types. You see, there's an example, exercise here, there's the explanation, there's further information. As always, I'm extremely fast. Sorry for that. So let's make a short break. And do you have a question so far?
Yes, there's a question.
Okay, are you planning any of your course or mentoring sessions to collaborate with Bureau? No, I will do all on my own. I had a few of contacts with them in my past, but this is essentially only hosted. It's only my stuff. I will in the future, maybe, I'm not sure in which direction this goes, but my plan is, honestly, when I know it works extremely good, I'm extremely good connected in the C++ community. Maybe other C++ trainer help me to improve this program. For example, I'm not the expert in test-driven development refactoring. Therefore, I would ask someone who knows a lot about how to switch from C to C++. Would you like to make a mentoring program on my platform? But all is hosted on my platform. I hope this answered your question. And any additional question?
So far, I think. Wait.
Okay. Thanks.
One question.
Thanks, Jens.
Give me a second to copy it.
Okay, fine.
And here we go.
What do you consider an advantage of manual data? What are the? Sorry, this is the answer I could talk hours about. So, what is the benefit of mentoring? Just what kicked in my mind. When I, for example, talk about move semantics, when I do it in a class, I do it exactly once. And when you are fine with it, it's good. If not, it's bad. But when I do it here, I explain move semantics from the technical point of view. Then I talk about it from the best practice point of view. I talk about it from a design or from a design point of view. I can always talk about one feature from different perspectives at different points in time. And this makes it so valuable because when I give a 3-day class to you, do you know what's happening after 3 days? You are totally exhausted. I'm totally exhausted, but here we have time. This means you can also use in the forum your business questions or your C++ related question and ask them there. you have a community which helps you. You see, this is way, way, way more complete. This is not only one aspect, a 3-day class. Honestly, when I give a 3 days class, I would assume 2 days later, you have at least forgot 50%, at least. Okay, now let me show you, because honestly, there's so much stuff inside, I cannot explain all in half an hour, but let me show you something. I have here in forum. And here are the topics which were discussed so far, and you see it here. There's one general one, there is introduce yourself, so the people introduce themselves, because this makes communication easier. Industry is not so interesting, and for each week I have a special forum, you see? Types. Here are 8 topics with 23 replies, and so on and so on. You see, this was the first iteration, 105 topics. There's a lot of discussion happening. I just click here and you see inline static members. There was a discussion and I answered. This was an extremely short answer. But this is the additional benefit when you want to have answers. Let's see, wrong button, forget about it. When you want to have answers regarding or topics regarding const expert, these are all const expert related questions. Const expert, non-const expert construction. And you see, this is one question I got. No one wrote the topics, therefore I did it by myself. And this was a very interesting question because it's new. I have it in my head. The question was, can you overload on const expert? No, you cannot. But this was the point of this question. You see, and therefore to each week I have a forum, which is a place to discuss your things. And the same is here for the next mentoring program. And you see exactly, we are now in week 3, because so far no topic in week 4. This is the forum. Second, here's the Q&A. Here are all recorded Q&As. And this is the last Friday, you see. And here additionally, these were the questions I discussed in this Q&A. This is the one I showed you before, you see? So when you go here, you directly jump to the question in the Q&A, which I to the question, the forum, which I discussed in the Q&A. So this is the Q&A. All of this stuff is recorded. I have a page with additional resources. I put only this stuff on this page, books, blogs, things you should know, which I think are really, really good. And here's a page with additional resources. All examples I show are on GitHub. Therefore, when you want to have them, just jump to GitHub. Oh, I should not do it, but you see it. These are the examples I use. You continue memory. Okay, here's the calendar showing you when the next Q&A will happen, including also the link to the Q&A. You see it here, and so on and so on. Okay. Once more, I make a short break. I was a little bit too fast, but anyway, now I have presented it to you in 20 minutes. But once more, do you have a question?
What do you think our early effort is for this, to master this? So you already said 3 hours a week is what you...
3 hours is the minimal time you should invest. But I have at least material for 6 to 8 hours each week. Or let's put only 6. But this is the additional stuff. And this is what I said before about this community membership. You can consume it longer when you switch from mentee membership to community membership. Because I didn't mention it. The running mentoring programs, I still improve them. When I found something interesting, when I wrote something interesting, which is valuable here, I put it there. Meaning I permanently improve the stuff. Jens already mentioned it. I started with this mentoring program last April. So it's Yeah, it's almost a year old, you see. So I'm still in the process of improving this. And this one is pretty good now, fundamentals. And this other one, which I do the first time, there may be a few issues, but the issues are gone when I mastered it the first time. But now, as I mentioned it, we are on week 4. So 3 hours, but you can invest more. Let me say what I mean by 3 hours. Around 40 minutes watching videos, maybe 40, 50 minutes making the exercises and study the stuff, and around an hour for the Q&A. So this is the minimum. And let me add something which I forgot. Now I go into the other program only to see this is the same. Let me add something. Let's do the pattern which you may probably not like. Let's jump directly into the thing in the first information part. To each resource I added here, I classify it as good to know and intermediate. This means I have 2 kinds of classification. Good to know, nice to know, and beginner, intermediate, advanced. Therefore, you see, good to know, beginner, this is what you should consume first. Once more, Klaus, terrible. Anyway, sorry, this was not against Klaus, but it was just by accident. Okay. So any question? And you see, this is always the same structure.
Yes, there's a question like, do you plan to have mentoring on tooling like package managers, for example?
This is an excellent point, but I have to say I'm not an expert in this domain. I know what I can or what I cannot do. Meaning, when you really want to have it, I will contact someone from the community. I already have someone in mind and ask him if he wants. Because what I want to build in the long run, this is a very ambitious goal. I want to have a platform you can come and you know there's something there's all is here what I need from a C++ point of view. And this is what I can do, which will take in the end around, you see it here, will take in the end around June 2025. This is what I can do. This is what you see here. And this additional stuff, I hope for other C++ experts, which will make this. Because what I want to do is essentially, you can just go to me and you know the stuff is there. And I can only provide half of it, roughly said. Okay.
Yeah. So what audience do you target with the mentoring? What is like?
This is what you see here. Beginner is really beginner. Honestly, in my last program, I had 2 really beginners. One was a guy who knows a lot about Python and wanted to learn C++. It was a little bit challenging for him, of course. And now I have someone in my program which is pretty new to programming, a little bit of Python background, and she wants to learn C++, which is a challenge. But honestly, she is now in week 11 and she is really, really good. She will master it. So this is, you see it here. Beginner, you can also say when you want to go in, when you want to do intermediate, you should have the level of beginner, to put it differently. And this is beginner, is a little bit more advanced. Here it becomes really, really advanced. But templates is an advanced feature, concurrency is an advanced feature, and high performance computing, of course, also. So the idea is really, this is a kind of a curriculum. This is your starting point. This does not mean you have to take it, but you should at least have the level to the level which is how should I say it? The level which is taught here.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks. By the way, I have to say a short anecdote. I have a few minutes left, and then we are done. This fundamentals for C++ professional thing is I created for a special reason. When I give a class, I often have 1 month before a talk with an expert, and he says to me, "You should explain this, that, and this one." Then I start the class. I say one keyword such as default, delete, or what else, and all people look in different directions. And therefore, I created a backup material which contained 400 slides, which one should know. And based on this material, I created this course. Meaning, when I would give this as a class, this would be a 20 days class. This was the reason why I created it. It often happened to me that my participant in my class had not the levels they should have. Therefore, I did with something totally different, and I therefore created this material.
Interesting.
Okay.
If you have any more questions, let us know. I'm happy to post them here for Rainer to see. And see, there's.
Let me add a few words. When you have questions and you may want to ask them later, just drop me an email.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I think you wanted to tell us how to reach out to you, because probably there's somebody interested in, talking to you about this. So Rainer, how to reach you?
Repeat your last sentence, Jens.
How does one contact you if they're interested in mentoring and want to
Any email, you can just use any email address. I have at least 5 of them. So, for example, this one, let me contact me. You see it here, contact me. Here we are. For example, this one is fine, but I don't care. I have so many. You can go to my blog and write a comment. Anyway, I will react. You can go to LinkedIn. You can write a comment on Twitter. Anyway, you will find me. Just search for Grim in C++. There's more than one hit.
Okay.
And you see on this page, there's always a contact field which you can fill in and submit. By the way, there's also, when you like it and you want to know what's happening in my mentoring program, here you can just register. Therefore, I send you information when I give a presentation, when I show you what's new, when I say to you, hey, there's a new mentoring program coming, and there are different ways to get notified, either this one or use this one.
Of course, yeah. There's a newsletter. Great. So let me look through if there's any. Here's one more question. Let me bring that on screen.
Okay.
Do you also target people who know C at expert level, but have only rudimentary C++ knowledge?
Let me be more specific. Let me just jump back. This program is probably an ideal fit for you, this one, fundamentals. Yeah. But I would not suggest that you use, wrong button, that you use one of the ones which are based on that. You see, this one. This is maybe too advanced for you. You should first know the basics. I already mentioned it. I had people which had Python background, which is probably far more away from C++ than C, and they mastered it. Because this is the great thing about this mentoring. In a typical class, you ask me why, sorry for additional word, you ask me what's the difference. The difference is here I have the time. In a class, I have an issue. because I have only 3 days and I want to teach what I want to teach what you bought. But here I have the time, and I can also do something, and you can use the forum to ask you special questions.
Okay. Then how much time do you spend on Fridays in the Q&A usually?
This is not. This is a nice. In the past, it was special. The late session was always longer, but the reason was there were the people from the US and the people from Germany or from Europe are not so verbose. But now it changed a little bit. I would say 60 to 80 minutes is typical.
Okay. And that brings us to the end of this. There's a question on concurrency patterns on LinkedIn, but I think we'll probably, let's start your talk in a minute, but that is like a nice segue to quickly look at that. Would you would our concurrency patterns be suitable for developing in real-time OS
operating system?
and building distributed active systems for embedded systems? But I'm not sure that's your domain.
This is a pretty sophisticated question. This is an open question with an open answer. Okay. Sorry, this is because Altos, I'm not sure if he really wants to have hard real time or weak real time. I'm not sure what he actually asked for it. And I know what the actor system is from Java or Scala, but so far we don't have one in C++. Okay. This is an extremely specific question. Let me delay it. To who asked the question, please write me an email. I think this is not the right frame here to answer this question, the right room.
Yeah, so you can reach out to Rainer on
exactly.
This question came from LinkedIn. So, which means we are now at the end of the sponsored time. And thank you very much for the sponsoring, Rainer. It was really interesting to see a little bit about this and hear about
Thanks also,
insights you provided. Let's get ready for your talk about concurrency patterns.